Good afternoon, Franklin Township. Welcome to the Franklin Reporter and Advocate News Hour for, what is today, March 31st, 2021. Got an interesting program for you today. We have a couple of local authors, a mother-daughter team, who have written a new book that's going to be quite interesting to talk about. It's called Mommy, Why Am I Different? Looks at a children's perspective to cultural differences, and I'm really anxious to talk to them about it. The added plus to this book is that there is currently a fundraising program going on at the Stop and Shop at Rutgers Plaza on Easton Avenue. So if you buy the book there, there's an extra bonus, and we'll have our guests talk about that. So PJ, what else we want to talk about? I'm sorry, I'm a little distracted. We've had technical difficulties this morning, which is why we're a little late in starting, and I'm still getting some I can't think of the word. What's static? The word I'm looking for? Not static, but just some
delay
aspects, some aspects of that. We want to talk about.
Oh, I like
that. I can't think of the right word.
Well, why don't we introduce who we are? I know you are.
Oh, I'm Bill. Geez whiz, Bill Bowman. I'm the editor and co-publisher of the Franklin Reporter, and you are.
Hi, PJ Parker, also co-publisher and the advertising director
of
the Franklin Reporter and Advocate.
Hey, so I have to get something here. So why don't you talk about, PJ, just real quick before we bring our guests on? Talk about why people need to subscribe to our news site, the Franklin Reporter and Advocate.
Great handoff there, William Bowman.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Franklin, we've been around for 7.5 years already. Franklin Reporter and Advocate is your local, hometown, totally independent news source. And we filled the gap. It was about 20 to 25 years of nothing locally coming out of this township, and being Franklin citizens and wanting to also have that news. We created something that seems to be filling the niche for most of us, or as many of us who are subscribing. And you too can subscribe to the Franklin Reporter and Advocate 24/7 news site, franklinreporter.com. It will cost you a whopping 10 cents a day. So please think about doing that, because there's news gathering that's gone on with many years of education, and Bill Bowman has been degreed in journalism and has had laws passed. So you're getting top quality news from a source who knows how to deliver it, how to find it, how to deliver it, as well as our daily email blog, which is the Morning Report. You can subscribe to that at no charge if you go to the front page of the Franklin Reporter. That is your email blast every morning around 5 o'clock. Gives you the day's top stories, as well as the traffic report as they are happening, and the best fuel prices of the day. And now you're actually listening to the Franklin Reporter News Hour. And we also have the monthly digest, which is, as the title would suggest, a monthly digest of the month's top stories that is distributed throughout Franklin Township in print form. So we have a little bit of all of the media worlds right under one roof, right here in Franklin Township. So right. We're happy to be here, bringing Franklin to Franklin, and this is right. One of the ways that we're doing that. And when we see signs and evidences of excellence and honor in our community, that's what we want to bring to Franklin. And right here with Sarai and Judy, we're going to embark on a whole different portion of that. Sarai is 12 years old. She's a Franklin child, and has some perspectives on not only her life, but what's going on.
Right. So let's, without any further ado.
They've co-authored this book?
Yes. And we're going to be talking about that just in a second. Let's bring them on.
Yes.
So Judy John Stiles and Sarai Stiles, welcome. Thank you for coming on to the News Hour.
Thanks for having us. Good morning.
It was a bit of a Bit of an adventure getting here, but we are here finally.
Yes. I have to say, this is Sarai's first live. So,
Oh, really? Oh,
yes.
wow,
Well,
great.
it's live, but remember, it's from your heart. You tell your story as to who you are and where that emerged into a book entitled "Mommy, Why Am I Different?" That's what I think you can speak better than anybody about what that's all about. And so if you speak from your heart, Franklin's listening.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So that would be my very first question. How did this idea start to formulate? First of all, that you felt you were different and that you needed to put that thought to pen and paper, or whatever your modality was to communicate that. How did that thought become something so compelling that you had to speak on it?
So while we were all home, I asked my parents, why am I different? Why is my hair different? My skin, my lips, just to name a few.
Well, different
And
from whom?
from the people in my school, the people around me. So my parents, they answered me and they gave me affirmations. So we thought, how many other young children are thinking these questions and don't have a safe space to ask them?
Mm-hmm.
So we wrote them down and we created a book out of it.
Okay. Well, how
Hmm.
lovely, Mom, for you to provide that safe space. There are a lot of children who don't have that gift. So this is just beautiful that you could offer this to your child.
Yes,
What?
I
Go
think
ahead.
that's very important. I am an educator as well as, a parent. So I see it in both ends in the school, and I'm raising a young girl.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm also a leader, at my church as well. So we're kind of open to different situations. So when she came to me, we're home. So
Mm-hmm.
we're quarantined. So when she said, Mom, my hair is different, it was my husband and I. We're always having conversations around the table. So we're like, okay, my skin is different. So it was new, fairly new to us, those
Mm-hmm.
questions. And as I guess, young parents were like, okay, God help us answer these questions, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
So then that's when, I'm like, well, your hair, yes, it is different. It is curly. You are a young black girl, American. I'm from the Caribbean. So, I came to this country when I was 12. So my experience at 12 was different from hers. So then I just said, you know what? You're beautiful anyway. However you feel, just know that, our slogan at home is you're fearfully and wonderfully made. And God made you special, and that's just who you are. So we just, wrote those um, questions and
Mm-hmm.
answers on paper. And I am also an author, so I previously self-published my book, my first book. So I'm like, you know what? I know how to do it. So
Let's
we
just
want
do
to
it.
help.
Right.
Let's just do it, because her heart was, how about other children, not just only in her school, but throughout the world, where maybe they have those same kind of questions or concerns,
Mm-hmm.
and how can we help them, as authors. So that's what we did.
Okay.
So,
The question that's looming for me is that it that seems to have come from a place where you felt difference was somehow not good or wrong. And that's what I'd like to hear about, because you approached it for, why am I different, as if that was not a good thing. And one's individuality, whether it's racial or it's cultural, or I mean, go as far as eye color. I have brown eyes. Some of my best friends have green eyes and blue eyes. That's different. But is any of them right or wrong? And I think from that's where I'm interested in your perspective, that it seems to have come out of a place that you felt your difference maybe was less than. someone else's difference. And that's upsetting.
Well, I'll start off this answer and
I
then
don't
she
mean
could
to
chime
be
in.
putting you on the spot, but I
No,
think
no, no, that's fine.
that's something that it's coming from a different perspective, and that you provided a safe space to feel that difference. That's kind of where I'm going for that.
So, I mean, it's a good question, but I will start off by saying I don't think she thought anything was wrong with her per se. No, because not just that she's 12, but even at a young age, the way my husband and I were taught and how we raise our children is to always think positive. No matter what's going on in the world, and right now there's a lot, going on in the world. And yes, you have brown skin, and yes, you are American, you're Black American, and having, a background of Caribbean, someone that came from the Caribbean to this country, we don't think there's anything wrong, with her difference. We're just celebrating her difference of, well, yeah, I acknowledge that I have brown skin. I acknowledge my hair is curly or get really tight, when it's wet. I acknowledge that my skin sometimes is dry and I need lotion, to moisturize. So we're just pretty much, in the book really is more to celebrate who you are, love yourself. And not only that, that you're brown, but love yourself no matter what color you are, no matter what race you are. We just want to empower young children to love yourself first, because when you love yourself first, you're able to love other people.
Absolutely. So I just, as an interesting aside, a couple of interesting asides. In Franklin Township alone, in the schools, there are over 60 languages spoken. That bespeaks so many different cultures. And we could line up 60 kids in a row, and each one of them has a different tale to tell or a different feature that is to be celebrated, because we are ultimately all unique individuals. But heard a wonderful quote the other day where a young child asked her mother, "What color is God?" And mother's response was, "God is all colors."
I love that. I love
Truly.
that.
And that if you are cut and I am cut, my blood is going to be as red as yours, and my tears are going to be the same color as yours. So fundamentally, are we not all the same? And that's where, if we get to that, the rest of it is our uniqueness, the celebration of who we are, because we were each created individually. Even though we may be similar, white people may have characteristics, Black people may have characteristics, Oriental Asian people may have characteristics, but underneath it, we are all God's kids.
I agree.
Yeah.
And you know what? Even in the book, just to kind of elaborate on why we want children to celebrate themselves, we actually added a journal entry at the end. So children have, so children have the opportunity. We have the book right here. Children have the opportunity to now write your story. Why do you think you're different? So I also wrote a nice little letter at the end to the reader. But we have a journal entry. I am different because I feel brave. So that they can I am confident when, so they can write their story and go back to that and keep writing. And we definitely want to encourage, to be an author, whatever it is, but keep writing and keep looking back to and celebrating who you are.
Celebrating our gifts.
Yeah.
Yes.
So when did you publish this book?
So we self-published in November, right before Thanksgiving.
Okay. And what's the reception been? How you guys, what kind of feedback are you getting?
Amazing. We did not imagine just the love and support, and a lot of our customers or buyers on either Amazon or even at Stop and Shop, they're like, man, we needed this. This is like a godsend.
Really?
I don't know how to answer my children with the questions that they have. So now there's one person that, connected with us, and they were like, man, thank you so much for this book. She bought it for her son. So it's, again, even though there's a girl picture on the front, it's for
Right.
all children. And she said, her son had challenges of being a young Black boy.
Mhm.
And the district that he was in pretty much is predominantly, white. So he said, man, I wanted my skin to be lighter. So with this book, he's like, man, now I understand. Now I love myself. I'm who I am. And that's who
Isn't
God
that
made
wonderful?
me.
What a
So
gift.
just the power. Honestly, that this book is so powerful. And I don't think when we wrote it, we're like, oh, okay, we want to help others, but not really. It's actually a ministry. Honestly, that's what we
Yes.
feel now. And that's what we're seeing based off people's feedback from the book. So as long as it can, uplift all children, we celebrate that.
That's
Can
great.
you read a passage from the book that you feel would be most helpful,
Um,
or something that you just feel particularly passionate about?
this is the end of the book where I said, Mommy, why am I different? I am different because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. I am royalty. I try to follow the rules, and I am not afraid. I am super smart. I have a big heart. I am a Christian who loves God. Changing who I am is not worth it just to have a squad.
Wow.
Wow. Oh my goodness, look at that. Who did the artwork? That's beautiful.
Well, that's actually a picture of me that we just recreated into an illustration.
Oh my gosh. So
Nice.
all the artwork came from you too.
Yeah.
Well, we had an illustrator, but pretty
Uh-huh.
much is most of her pictures itself that he just, recreated.
Mm-hmm. So this is
That's
truly
great.
a work of individuality, which is exactly what you're celebrating.
Yes.
So I have a question, Sarai. Your mom said that it was during the COVID isolation that you asked these questions. Had that question, why am I different? Was that something that you've been thinking about for a long time, or? Oh, I mean, I guess what I'm trying to get at is, what was it about the isolation that made you actually come out and verbalize that question? Because I think you've been thinking about that for a while.
Well, I have been thinking about that for a while. Definitely just a quick story. In pre-K, that was my first time really in school. So I was different. I was the only Black girl in my class.
Mm-hmm.
And I was a Christian. I always prayed before I ate my food. And they called me Cuckoo Bird and like all these different names. So
I've been there.
I
I understand.
I was, I asked myself, like, why am I different? I don't like to be different when I
Mm-hmm.
was in pre-K. But I noticed throughout, like, what was going on, there was a Black Lives Matter protest. So I thought, well, this is a time where I can ask my parents, like, I'm seeing Black people on TV protesting. So I asked my parents, like, why am I different? Why do I look like this? So
Hmm. So, Mama, that must have been a startling question for you, huh?
Yes, it was for myself and my husband. Like I said, we enjoy table talk. We enjoy we try to eat dinner every night together. Again, we're home, so
Yeah.
we can do that.
Mm-hmm.
But even before COVID, we definitely took that as an importance in our home. And that's where we just sit down and talk about our day. Think about so my son always asks every day. He says, well, anybody wants to share their dream? That's how he starts off.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And how
Yes,
old is your son?
he's 9.
Oh my
He's 9.
goodness.
Yes, he's one of a kind. So,
Wow.
but yeah, so it's not only, what we see on the outside, but we kind of talk about what's going on in the inside too. So we, kind of just want to bring that out and just create like that safe, peaceful space for our children where they can come to us. We tell them all the time, you can tell us anything.
Mm-hmm.
Come to us. We don't have the answer. We'll work it out and find it together. So
Wow.
That's
That's
what we
great.
do.
Now, did you have the
That's
answer
so
right
beautiful,
away?
really.
Did you have the answer right away?
Not all of the answers that she asked. Some of them we did because we kind of just honestly we went right to the Word of God.
Okay.
So, we as far as fearfully and wonderfully made, we definitely taught her Psalm 139. So we went through to that first, and then we kind of had to break it down. Like she has braces, so yes, you have braces, but hey, at least you can choose different bands. Try to make it a positive thing, not so negative. So
Right.
that's what we tried to do.
Okay.
And those braces are fearfully and wonderfully made, so that your smile will be fearfully and wonderfully created.
Absolutely.
So Sarah, you said seventh grader, right?
Yes.
That's Samson G. Smith.
Yes.
I should say Franklin Middle School, Samson G. Smith campus.
Hamilton Street campus.
No, Samson G.
No,
Smith
no,
campus.
right. It's the Samson Smith campus.
Yeah.
Correct.
So how are your classmates reacting to your authorship?
Well, my close friends are really excited for me, and like they have their copy of my book.
Mhm.
Some of them are like, I never knew you thought that way about yourself. Even my teachers, like, they were saying, you're beautiful. You come in every day with a big smile, and I never knew you felt that way about yourself. So yeah.
That's great.
Well, that's an interesting thought that a teacher would realize that there's a gap between what he or she is doing with her students, that there's the gap of not really knowing these children that they are in charge of molding for 7-8 hours a day. That
Yeah.
I think that was probably very eye-opening for her.
Oh,
Yes.
Yeah.
absolutely.
We have
This is after your parents. Then your teachers are your parents during the day, and
Right.
so much of your value structuring is through the school system. I think that's a tremendous insight that you have now brought to an adult community, that there's that gap, that it's
Yeah.
time to get to know students as humans, as children, as people, and whatever the cultural differences are, to address those so that they're embraced.
Yeah.
And
We have an affirmation. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Sarah.
I think that it is very needed too, in especially middle school, where everybody's like, you have to look a certain way, you have to dress a certain way. So knowing that you are beautiful just the way you are is very powerful, and
Absolutely.
it helps you when others around you don't accept you for who you are.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. That's good to have. That's a good arrow to have in your quiver.
Mm-hmm. It's your
Um,
own armor.
right. We have a comment from Deborah Figueroa who says, I saw Sarai on Zoom at Franklin Park School during Read Across America. She's fantastic. And so is her mom.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And just going back to, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Bill.
No, go ahead.
Just
Go
going
ahead.
back, and I said, just being a teacher, I get to, and I teach pre-K. I do teach the younger ones, but you get to see the need. You know what I mean? And like PJ said, that yes, we are their parents. For 8 hours. And one practice or strategy that I use in the beginning of the school year, I tell my students, listen, we are family. We are family. We're there for each other. We support each other. So I try to build that positive, environment in the classroom so they can feel comfortable, that safe space again. They could feel comfortable, sharing whatever it is with me, or just feeling like, man, this is like home, or this is not my home. This is something I desire for my home to be. So I think
Yes.
it is very important to have that, in the school, in the classrooms.
Well, it's
That's-
trust. It's establishing trust.
Yes,
Mhm.
absolutely.
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
That's a
So,
safe place that your differences are embraced. And that's the universal principle. It's
Right.
it's interesting.
So let's get into the nuts and bolts for a couple seconds about the process. I mean, you're among writers here. and we like to talk about what we do, right? So,
Yes.
what was the process you used to write this book? Did you sit around the dining room table and Sarai, did you say stuff, and Mom, did you write stuff down, and then how did that work? Talk about that.
Well, when we had the conversation, that's when we said that we need to write it down and create a book. And like my mom wrote it all down, and then she said, "This is our book," and it was going so quickly to me because it was my first time, but it was good that it went so quickly so that I could help other children and allow them to know that they are beautiful and fearfully and wonderfully made.
And how long did it take?
So it took about 3 months.
Okay.
About 3 months where, again, I had some background information because, again, I literally recently, self-published a book prior to hers. So it was just fresh. and through my process, I wrote everything down because not only I'm an author, but I help people self-publish their books as well.
Okay.
Nice.
So we
Very
established
good.
our own publishing company, Styles
Okay.
Books LLC. So I had everything, planned in place. So I'm like, okay, so we wrote it down. We got it edited through a lovely editor. Her name is Destiny Salter. So she went through it and she's like, okay, I think you should change this. This sounds better. So she did that. And we're like, okay, I think we have the book. And with the images, the illustration, we're like, Sarai said, you know what, I really want it to be more personal. I want, pictures of myself in the illustration. So we're like, okay, so we had to go through a whole bunch of pictures to see which one, that she liked, which one showed her braces, which one, showed her skin or whatever the case is. So we did that and we found an illustrator. And like I teach, people when they self-publish, there's different resources that, I've learned and I came across. We made some mistakes. We made some mistakes. There's some bumps. It wasn't as, so easy. But again, with the experience that I had, we're able to, just keep going. And then when we finally had the finished product, we uploaded it. And our process wasn't where, before like, oh, pre-order your books. We didn't do that. And we were intentional about that. We wanted the book to be like a surprise. Lately I've noticed like some things that people move off emotions. So we're like, let's just put it out there. And that's what we did. We put it out there on Facebook, on different social media platforms, and here we are.
And I also think throughout the process, we did have help, like getting input from my grandparents or my aunts and my mom's friends, just so that it's perfect, so that we can help others.
So it was a family affair.
To get this book,
Yeah.
how does one do that?
I'm sorry?
How does one find this book?
So you can visit our website at stylesbooksllc.com. And the book is available on Amazon as well. And there's also a coloring book. Many people, we normally focus on the book, but there's a coloring book. It looks the exact same, but we also wanted children, hey, color it in. And Sarai actually did an amazing event during Christmas, during the holidays. And she gifted 10 girls, right?
Yeah.
Here, go ahead, talk about it.
I gifted 10 girls in my family and some of my close friends. And I made like just a little gift package with my book, my coloring book, some pens, pencils, a customized t-shirt that my aunt made. And just so that to gift them something for Christmas and to lift their spirits in this tough time.
Wow.
There's such an inner glow to you.
Thank you.
It radiates from you, and it's such a warm and gentle presence.
Thank you.
And the delight you show that you're experiencing that is just so beautiful.
Thank you so much.
I mean, you're and Mom, you're just the personification of the development of all of that. That you're full blown. You've
Thank you
achieved
so
that.
much.
And Sarai is picking up on a different path, I think. Uh, Very spiritual. It's very evident that you have more to give, and people will gravitate to you. And I suspect I am gravitating to your spirit. And
Thank you.
this means for me, you can cross all boundaries.
Wow.
This is not just children who will benefit from this message. And I would like you to be thinking about that as well. Especially during this pandemic, there are so many mental health issues that people of all ages and all cultures are experiencing as one culture of isolation and loneliness and hopelessness and fear. And it's all rolled into this great cosmos of humanity that your message is hopeful across the board. This is not just for children. This has a very, very universal impact. And I think it's wonderful. I wish you so much luck with this. You've
Thank
tapped
you.
into something that's bigger than you think.
Absolutely. So let's talk about Stop and Shop. How'd that come about?
Okay. All right. So even with this author journey, I've learned how to market because yes, you can write a book, but you have to sell it, right? You have to put it out there. You have to put in the work. You have to
Do
put
I
in
have
the
a job
work.
for you?
So honestly, what I did, and this is like my 5 to 9, my 5 to 9, where I emailed. I was very bold with this. I emailed CEOs of Stop and Shop. I emailed CEOs of Costco, ShopRite, Target, all of them. CEO down, management position. And I said, hey, this is a great resource. I even emailed the commissioner of New Jersey because I believe that this book should be in the schools because, again, it's a great resource celebrating diversity, great for young children. So Stop and Shop, even Walmart. I reached out to so many people, so many companies, and Stop and Shop loved what we were doing because we wanted to gift, and during Black History Month we gifted so many families. We collected money. We had like a donation people gave, and then we also put in from our business as well, and we gifted so many people during Black History Month, even schools, we and libraries. So Stop and Shop was very excited. We heard back from the marketing team, and they're like, wow, we love what you guys are doing. And first they gifted Sarai, right?
Yes, they gifted me with like an ice cream package where I could make my own sundaes.
Because she loves to bake.
Nice.
That's what she does, that's her 9 to 5. She writes and bakes. So they first, acknowledged what she was doing, and they gave her a sweet little gift card, a gift basket. And then they came back to us and they were like, you know what? Honestly, I want to thank the president of Stop and Shop because he has just been so awesome. And that team where they were like, you know what? We want to celebrate her. When we got the call, we were like, what? They were like, well, we want to purchase 500 copies of the
Wow.
book. We're like,
That's
wait,
so
did he
nice.
say 100
Yeah.
or 10 or 50? No, 500 copies.
Yes.
Oh,
So
that's
we're like,
wonderful.
oh my goodness, this never happened before. This is major. This is huge. And we're like, okay. So, we went through the process. And not only that, they are all proceeds. So first they purchased the copies from our company. And then all proceeds will be given to an organization of Sarai's choice. So she, gave them a list of organizations, and they chose one, Tribal Innovations Theater. And Sarai was actually a little actress. She attended Tribal Innovations, and that's the organization they chose for that. So it was just simply amazing opportunity, and we're hoping. Again, we kind of went back to Costco and Walmart. So we're hoping that they pick it up as well. And we're hoping that the district not only Franklin, but also the state. Because I also noticed an article that they're now providing resources of books of diversity for schools now in New Jersey. So we're also hoping for that opportunity too, that they can purchase books and just have it, for the children.
Have you approached the district?
We have, they know. I mean, Franklin, they saw us. We also had an opportunity at Franklin Park. The principal reached out to us. We had different book readings of organizations that Sarai is participate in for girls to women.
Women to girls.
Women to girls group. So we've had different opportunities. As far as the superintendent, we haven't heard from Franklin per se, the district, but we're hoping to get the phone calls because we think it's important.
My school.
I think you might be getting a phone call after this show. I know that the school board has taken a very, very strong stance on diversity and anti-racism. In fact, they've made it part of their creed this year. So and they've taken some very strong, made some very strong statements in that regard. So I have a feeling you guys may be getting contacted soon. Right,
well, we're
right,
ready.
Nancy?
We're ready. Oh, don't
Good,
forget
good.
Girls for Grades for Life. They were also an
Oh, Grades for Life,
amazing.
sure.
Yes, so I did a book reading, a virtual book reading, and they have just been a great support as well.
Yes. My
Okay.
school also did a newspaper for the school newspaper. I was interviewed and I was in the newspaper for school.
That's great.
Wow.
That's great.
Thank
So talk
you're
about
in the Franklin News Hour now.
That's right.
Which means you're archived forever at Franklin Township.
That's right. Talk about this organization that you're supporting, Sarai.
Well, like my mom said, I did do a play. It was Emma and the Lost Unicorn, and I was a butterfly. So it was an amazing experience. It was like we built a family relationship with the cast and everything. So I really wanted to support them, kind of thanking them for all that they did for me in the play.
Oh, that's nice.
Are they local? Are they in New Jersey? Are they in the Franklin area?
Yes, they are.
Great. Okay. So is this, Sarai, is this something you see yourself doing some more of? Do you think you'd be going to be writing some more books?
Yes.
Oh, Mama says yes.
Yes. I have a couple books. I would love for my next book to be in schools and stores. But this book came from a project that I did in class. It was a French alphabet book. So what I did, I'm doing an English and French alphabet for anybody. Yes, the alphabet's for little kids, but the French alphabet is also for a grown up. You can still learn that at any age. So this would just help anybody for their alphabet and learn French.
Like a study aid.
Yes. And I would also love to write a story about my great grandfather. So he wanted a red wagon. So it's kind of a story on when he told my dad, when he was a little boy, he wanted this red wagon, but he knew he couldn't have it. So I want to write it down, and I would love for that to be published.
And her great grandfather lived to be 103.
Wow.
He recently passed away in December. So
did he have that red wagon?
Yes, actually, my dad gifted him for Christmas with the red wagon, and he loved it.
It's such a special story. So we already started the process. So that's a little, surprise.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, not
only, to our family, but it's just a major project. So that's
great.
one thing in the making. And like she said, we already started the process of that. It's called the alphabet book in
Mhm.
English and French.
Mm-hmm.
So that will
Oh,
be
Why stop at French? There are lots of languages.
French is is just one of her favorites. She
Yeah.
loved her French teacher, and her French teacher, I mean, she is amazing.
Amazing. Yes.
Go ahead, tell them about your French teacher a little bit.
Well, I did take French in 6th grade and I didn't really like it. So I tried again in 7th grade and she really, really helped me so much. She edited my book. She was just amazing and that was a big help to me and support.
I think she's getting a little, not emotional, but it really meant a lot to her that her French
Mhm.
teacher
Yeah.
supported her in this.
well, good.
Well, it's
That's
a
great.
beautiful language. It's
Yeah.
just so graceful.
And I think it's great that they're teaching languages in town at such a young age.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I did not have that, and I moved around a lot when I was a kid. And one school district I was in the 7th grade, I was learning Spanish, and then we moved mid-year, which is a horrible thing to do to a kid. Anyway, we moved mid-year, and not only did they not have language, but then I was taking reading and spelling. I thought, honestly, as a 7th grader, I thought I had been left back because
Wow.
it just, it was such a shift. But anyway,
Yes.
that's another story. So we have another
This
comment here from someone who
country needs to accent more diversity in language studies.
Oh, absolutely,
Definitely.
absolutely. We are very, and I'm going to catch, and I'll raft of crap for this, but as a country, we are very arrogant in the fact that we see English as the only language we need to know. You go to Europe and those folks forget about bilingual, they're trilingual. Sometimes they're speaking 4 or 5 different languages because they understand that they've got to get along and get around if they want to
Yes.
do business internationally or whatever, or if they just want to travel.
It's communication.
Right. But for some reason, Americans feel, no, all I need to know is English and you should learn my language. And, it's not a healthy way to go about it. I'm sure I'm going to get some comments on that because there are people who are just waiting to pounce. Anyway, we have a very nice comment here from Jerome Arthur John, who says, on behalf of Tribal Innovations Theater Company, we send a huge appreciation to Sarai Styles and Styles Books LLC for their support to our organization. So that's very nice.
Very nice.
Awesome.
Thank
Awesome.
you. No, we love to be able to give recognition to organizations that are giving back.
And we have a follow-up. We at Tribal Innovations are so happy and proud of our butterfly.
Are there any other productions coming up with them that you're going to be involved?
Not that I know of, but I would love to do a play in, the future when all this is over.
Oh, this is just beginning. This is never going to be over. You know that.
You have a wonderful theater director over there at Sampson, and I know we've
yes, Terry Sergio.
Yeah,
she was actually my English teacher too.
Yes,
oh, really? Okay,
yes.
Great. So she's a wonderful director, and she knows how to put a show on. And we've actually seen some very, very good shows over the past 7-8 years, I guess. Not only at Sampson, but obviously also at the high school. So that's something to look forward to.
She embraces her students as if they are her own. And she shares her vast, vast gifts. I mean, from the tech side to the musical side to she's just involved in so many artistic areas and wants to give it out.
This is a very artsy town, Judy. Have you noticed that?
Yes.
Yes, we have. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, we have. I mean, they talk about the diversity of the people, but just the diversity of talent in this town. Not only with performing arts, but with painters and art authors and.
Yes.
Gosh, just the 7 years or so that we've been doing the Franklin Reporter, we've run into so many different people with so many different kinds of talents. It's breathtaking sometimes when you think about what goes on, within the borders of this township. It's excellent, excellent. being artsy people ourselves.
Yes.
Yes.
As things start opening up, especially as the weather gets a little nicer, any plans to do book signings, maybe outdoors?
Yes,
And meet the
we're open
author.
to that.
Mm-hmm.
We're open to it. Again, it's all about planning for us, you know what I
Sure.
mean, and making sure that everything, and everyone will be safe.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, we are open, to book signing.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll post any, the future events. We'll post it.
Mm-hmm.
Great. We have a comment from Rita. I can't pronounce your last name, Matt.
Moniz?
Mornice, I guess. Wonderful. I have to purchase my book. Yay, Judy and Sarai, rather. I'm
Sarai.
sorry, Sarai.
Yeah.
That's great. A friend of yours?
You know what? I've known her for a very long time.
Oh,
Since
good.
I was in high school. I went to high school in Franklin,
Oh,
and
Oh, you
wow.
she
did?
is,
Okay.
yes, and my husband did too.
Oh,
She
okay.
is one of Rita is a person at the time of need as a young woman. She was one of those women that, I mean, blessed me tremendously. So, hi, Rita.
One of the
That's so
services we
precious.
perform here at the Franklin Reporters is bringing friends back together again,
Oh,
Yes.
yes, yes,
especially in these days of COVID. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
absolutely.
Sarai, do you want to read another passage from your book?
Um,
How about
yes.
you read the letter to the reader? How about that?
Okay.
Because I think that one it really touches.
Okay. My name is Sarai Stiles, and I am 12 years old. I am a young black girl who wants to let all girls know that it is okay to be different. I want to let young girls know to always feel and be confident in themselves and understand that what you look like on the outside does not matter. As long as you keep your head up high and know that you are fearfully and wonderfully made. Sometimes it is hard to feel or know that you are beautiful because you may think that others are prettier than you or better than you, and that is not true because you are perfect just the way you are.
Wow.
That's so lovely.
From a
Thank
12-year-old.
you. From
That's
a
just
12-year-old.
Wow.
Thank
Awesome. That's awesome. Awesome insight. You
because
don't,
it's so simple.
right. And you don't find such introspection prevalent among kids that age. So as PJ said earlier in the program, it's a testament to mom and dad as well for fostering that.
Mm-hmm.
So congratulations on that.
Yes.
Thank you.
Let's
Thank you.
let's in the theme of because we have to do a little bit of real talk here on these. This is a news program. In the theme of why am I different? There's been a lot of talk. There's a lot of talk, not in Franklin specifically, but just in the education world in general, about the lack of people of color in teaching positions, right? And also in school administrative positions. So we have, and in Franklin, and I've looked at 10 years worth of statistics on this, there's a disparity. We have a large percentage of kids are people of color, whereas the overwhelming percentage of teachers and administrators are not. And there's a theory, there's all sorts of theories about how it's important. I guess it's more than just a theory, but how it's important for kids who are African American, who are Asian, to be able to see teachers and administrators who look like them, as not only as role models, but also as answering that question, why am I different? So Judy, as a teacher yourself, do you have any thoughts on that?
Yes. Well, I see it often. I work in New Brunswick and I work through PrEP. So in my building, there's only two Black teachers and we have 11 classrooms. So
Wow.
yes, I do see it. It breaks my heart. It's a conversation my husband and I have all the time. My son says, he used to say, now he wants to be a basketball player, but he used to say, I want to be a teacher. And my husband was so happy to hear that because he said, yes, because when he was younger, and again, I was born in the Caribbean. I moved here at 12. So my husband, he's American. So he experienced a lot, I would say, as a young Black boy. And he always said, man, if I had, more teachers that looked like me or understand the struggles, I faced or whatever it is that he faced when he was younger, maybe his life probably could have been different. Maybe he could have, he would have finished school. Let's just say that. I'm just being very transparent. He did not finish high school. So the thing is that we try to teach our kids, even my daughter and our son, we try to teach them no matter what race, because listen, America is full of different races. That's just what it is. It's a diverse country. So whoever you come across, Black, white, Spanish, whatever it is that you come across, even with teachers as educators, shine your light.
Absolutely.
Make sure you're the one, even though
You make that difference, right?
everyone has their own, maybe I would say biases. Everyone have their own upbringings, culture, everything. You know what I mean? In the schools, there's so much culture, so much diversity. But as long as you bring your light to the classroom, the lunchroom, the cafeteria, wherever you are in this world, bring that light, bring who you are, bring your uniqueness, bring, that love, because only love can only love, and you loving yourself. So yes, there should be a change. Yes, there should be more Black teachers in all districts, not just Franklin. Yes, but what we have to teach our young children of all different races, have love and be the light, so that whoever you come across, that maybe your light might shine through theirs and their perspective might change. You know what I mean? And maybe they can see your uniqueness just through that little person. So that's what I would, comment on that question, Bill. Not to get so political or
No, that's fine. You have to do that.
I think Sarai want to chime in on something.
I want to be a teacher. I've always wanted to be a teacher. I play teacher with my brother all the time. So I did tell my dad, like, I want to be a teacher. I wish I can teach every grade so that I make sure that every student finishes school, because I know a little of my dad's story. So I just want, because I'm African American, so I can make an influence on an African American student, every student, but my main focus is to help African American students.
Sure. And I think, and I say all that before as sort of a preface to saying another reason why your book is so not only needed but also so well received, because there's a vacuum there, right? And there's probably a lot of people asking that same question, and they don't, they may be maybe the family is not as open as yours, where they can't go to their parents and ask them these kinds of questions, and then they go to school and they don't see people in positions of authority who look like them, who can't answer that question, maybe, right? So here comes Sarai with her book answering the question. So that's kind of why I wanted to bring that whole. It takes me a long time sometimes to get to a question, but that's why I wanted to bring that up.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, I was laying the foundation just to say there is clearly a need for this, because as evidenced by how it's being received.
And it brings hope. Yeah. On top of all of that, we want to just bring hope, for the future for all children.
Absolutely.
Well, it's listening to it. And I grew up in New York, and I grew up as a white girl in New York, but most of my friends were either Jewish or Black. And this is a personal story. When I was probably around 12, I was in a group where I was the only one who wasn't Jewish. And at one point, one of the mothers of one of my best friends made a decision that because of that, I was no longer fit to be one of the friends of that group. And these were girls I had been friends with since we were about 4 or 5 years old. And I was absolutely shunned.
Wow.
Shunned for no other reason than the fact that I was not Jewish. It was so brutal that I had to change schools because
Wow.
it bordered from, it went from shunning to harassment, that it was something I just couldn't tolerate, and I never understood it. But my reasoning for saying that is that I know what that feels like to be the one who isn't, and I don't know how else to postulate that. I know I made decisions based on that insecurity, that I always felt that this was something that if I did not belong to a certain group, that my value was questioned and questionable by me. And that's, Sarai, what you're addressing here, is that you're questioning, or you were questioning what your value was, and translating that into a word called difference. And you found that your difference was to be celebrated. And that is such a gift to discover that, to realize that it's your own personal value that has to supersede anyone else's valuation of you, because those people can come and go, and you still have you and are you. And this is so enlightening. So that's why I said this transcends just a child's perspective, although that's the best place to start, so that you don't go through years of that kind of doubt and insecurity. But I think adults, or quite anyone could benefit from your message, and that's
I agree.
that you are created in beauty and are of beauty and of love.
So,
You know,
And whatever
PJ,
the exterior is, it's almost irrelevant. It's an enhancement, but your soul shining through, and that comes from you too, Judy. Beautiful.
wow. You know, PJ, when you're talking, I was thinking about when Bill shared something when he was 12.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right,
then
that
your
seems to be a
story,
golden age, right?
right?
They're all
No,
12, right?
right? But
something
then,
about,
Yeah.
go ahead, Bill, sorry.
I was going to say something about being 12, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so, because it just brought me back. You know, like I said,
Mm-hmm.
I was born in the Caribbean in Dominica, and I moved here when I was 12 years old.
Oh
And
my
that
God.
was a challenge for me because I actually went to Samson at 12. And I was
Wow.
telling Mrs. Sarai the other day, I had a strong accent, came from the Caribbean. And I had to really train myself
Mm-hmm.
to speak more American so I could fit in.
Hmm.
Because, yeah, so it's just like, wow, yes, I'm grateful for this book because, again, you're right. It's not just for kids. It really touches our hearts too
Absolutely.
as grown ups. But I
Absolutely.
think Sarai want to say something.
Because it was like last night when we were talking about this, but it really like hurt my heart because I was like, I don't want anybody to change who they are just to fit in or to have
Exactly.
friends or to, think that their worth is, I just don't want that to happen to anyone. So it
Mm-hmm.
really hurt me because I was like, Mommy, like,
I'm like, it's okay, Sarai. I'm good now. But I think, did you want to read this? Because I think what you said, PJ, something from her book, I think she wants to read to you.
yes. So
Please.
I said, my eyes are too big and my lashes long and curled at the ends. And my mom said, you have a special gift to see and discern who are your true friends. So
Mm.
Oh,
Wow.
nice.
Oh, is that beautiful?
thank you. So when you said that your friend was Jewish and her mom said you couldn't,
It was
be with
all of
her
them.
anymore,
Hmm.
all of
Well,
your
many
friends,
of them.
sorry.
Mm-hmm.
It was like um you have a gift. You have that gift to see and discern who are your true friends.
Mm-hmm.
So I know it hurt you that you couldn't be with your friends, but you could have found another true friend that
Mm-hmm.
accepts you for who you are.
And honestly, that's exactly what happened. And the one girl at the time who virtually took me under her wing and gave me friendship when I needed it the most. And we're still friends to this day. And P.S. she happens to be Jewish.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's great.
So it's just really it's wonderful. It's lovely.
And just as an aside, I was always under the impression that women really strive for long lashes. I thought that was a sign of beauty. No, am I wrong?
So let me tell you, I'm going to be very transparent. I've never said this to anyone.
Okay.
I've never said this to anyone else but my home. So I'm putting myself out there.
Yes, you are.
Evaluate. I didn't know that. I didn't know long lashes was a thing. Like, no one taught me that. So
Okay.
when I was younger, when I came to this country, Soraya's like embarrassed now. When I came to this country, my lashes were so long that they would get in my eyes. So I would cut them.
Oh,
I
no.
would cut them. I know. I would cut them because I didn't know. I was like, well, I can't deal with it until I learned as an adult now. Like, no, long lashes is a thing. So
Yes,
That's
I know.
funny.
Now you can buy them and glue them on.
Yeah,
yes, you can.
that's very funny. We have a family member weighing in.
Oh yes, that's her aunt. Oh my goodness, she's a phenomenal artist. Again, like you said,
wow.
Franklin has so much artist and talent. Hi, Auntie Shampri, hairstyle.
That's great.
Wow.
All
So
right.
I hope that when all of this is completed, I mean, this particular broadcast, that your family will be able to enjoy it for many years and to share it amongst your friends and family.
Absolutely.
So they get this entire joyful experience and what you have brought out beyond your own experience to enrich the lives of others. It's just wonderful.
Right. This is, PJ and I have been talking for weeks about this being
Women's History
Women's History Month.
And today's the last day.
And
so
today's the
how
last day.
wonderful.
So what I was going to say, what a great way to end Women's History Month with this
Wow.
program. You guys have been a delight, and
And you are the history.
yes,
right now.
and you're making your own
What
history.
goes forward? You have
Right,
established
you're making your own history, and
Sarai.
I wish you all a success. We wish you all a success in not only this book, but in whatever you do in the future. And Sarai, you're going to make a wonderful teacher.
Thank you. Thank you.
And the website again, folks, is stylesbooksllc.com if you want to order the book online. I guess it's also Amazon as well.
Yes.
Okay. And if you want to be a little more proactive, go to Stop and Shop on Eastern Avenue in Rutgers Plaza. Buy the book there, and a portion of the proceeds goes to
all of it.
Proceeds.
Oh, all of it
All
goes.
of it.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Yes, amazing.
Goes to Tribal Innovations
Tribal.
Theater Company,
Yes.
which is one of Sarai's chosen charities. So that's very giving of you.
Thank you.
No, the sky is the limit for you, my dear. You have
Absolutely.
such a lovely future ahead of you.
Thank you so much.
You lead with your heart, and you've been encouraged to do so.
Yes.
And that is just a lovely, lovely thing to see
And I
to
hope
experience. And you're both so joyful. I'm feeling it through digital media. I'm feeling it from you, and that's it transcends so much. So thank you so much.
And please let us
you.
know when the whole thing is over, or at least batted down sufficiently, when you can have I don't know, maybe we'll even sponsor it, a book signing, and we can meet you. We can meet you in person. That'd be
That
great.
would be great. That would be great.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you
All
for
right.
having us.
We could chat too about this. I think
Yeah.
it would be tremendous.
We can work something out. All right. So Sarai and Judy Stiles, thank you so much for coming on this edition of the Franklin Reporter Advocate News Hour. And again, good luck with whatever you guys do.
And congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
And we will talk to you soon.
Okay.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right.
Wow. I'd love to see that kind of joy and that kind of support. She's got
Yeah.
a loving, kind family behind her, and that's a lot of people don't have that. She's
No, a
very
lot of
blessed.
folks, the dinner time talk. We never had that at my family. We were never real, sit around the dinner table and chat. Folks, we were too busy running around and doing stuff. But which kind of got me into hot water with my friends in college, because they were the first people I would eat meals with outside of my family.
Wow.
And I would sit there in the cafeteria and I would just eat. I wouldn't talk, and they used to get mad at me because I wouldn't talk to them. And I'm eating, we can talk afterward, but I'm eating right now. So anyway, but
Yes, some people are very food driven.
I am. I'm all into the food when I'm eating. But anyway, it's a great thing though to sit down as a family and talk, because things like this come from that.
Yes.
Right? This spawns these kinds of wonderful projects that clearly, I don't know, maybe they did think it was going to have this kind of an impact, but I think this thing is going to spiral.
It's such a universal message that it begins from a childhood innocence and a true questioning of where do I fit in is the bigger picture.
Sure.
I think we never stop asking that question. Where do I fit in? How can I be valuable? What is my purpose here? And that's in contrast, I did have that family dinner chatting thing. It was mostly on Sundays, because my dad would get home fairly late, and my two brothers and I would have had dinner already. And when my dad walked in, my parents had their quiet time together, and then they had dinner together. But Sundays was all of us, and there were lots of spirited discussions about a lot of topics. They tended to revolve around spelling and words and language and music and a few other things, but it was definite sharing of concepts, and I did have that, which is probably why I'm such a slow eater at this point.
That could be.
I do talk. I forget the food on the plate, and I do tend to chatter. So I'm a very slow eater. Anybody who's had lunch or dinner with me or breakfast knows that. Everybody else's plate is cleared, and I'm still 3/4 of the way full on the plate.
Well, it's supposed to be better for your digestion.
I'm a talker, an exchanger, I guess, and you can see that is what goes on in Sarai and Judy's house. That the free exchange of ideas and feelings, that's such a blessing. Those of you who are parents and for whatever reason are not engaging with them on that level, this is another opportunity to do that.
And I love the question the 9-year-old asks. Yeah, I love the question the 9-year-old asks. Does anyone want to share their dream?
Oh,
wow!
Gosh, from a
9-year-old.
Well, then again, Billy Strayhorn wrote Lush Life when he was 16.
Oh, well.
So
there you go.
Anyway, that was such a positive experience.
Yeah, it is great, but this thought just came to me. Franklin, we do celebrate our diversity. It's something that a lot of people take pride in. But even with all that diversity, this little girl still had to ask that question.
Exactly, and that was the first thing that I was trying to ask of her, where diversity is what is prevalent in Franklin Township.
Yeah.
And to feel still that whatever that level of difference was bothered her to the degree that it transported her into something else.
Yeah.
But that it bothered her at all. So somewhere along the line, something made it bother her as opposed to propel her to embracing. And I think she's embraced that embracing right now.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. There's such
it's wonderful. I think there's a lot of potential to help promote this book and its concept, and have the heart of it received.
Yeah.
So,
All right. That's great. All right, Franklin, as usual. Where am I? As usual, Franklin Township, if you want to find out what's going on in town, get the most comprehensive report of news in Franklin Township, go to www.franklinreporter.com. That's our news site that we've had for about 7 years now, going on 8. We are on the Twitter machine at Franklin Editor. We're also obviously on Facebook, because this is probably where you're watching this, at Facebook, rather at Franklin Reporter as well there. We're also on the Insta, Franklin_reporter_and_advocate. We're also on YouTube. We don't have our customized YouTube address yet, because we're not up to the threshold of subscribers. So please go on to YouTube, look up, just search for Franklin Reporter and Advocate. You'll find us, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're trying to build that up a little bit. We will be placing videos there that you won't be able to see on Facebook. If you have a question about a story, if you have an idea for a story, if you want to send in a letter to the editor for our Speak Out section, you can address those to editor@franklinreporter.com. That's editor@franklinreporter.com. If you are a small business owner, a large business owner, or if you have something that maybe you have a home-based business or whatever that you'd like to advertise in the Franklin Reporter, remember we have not only the online franklinreporter.com, we have the morning email blast, which is the morning report, which gives you the top headlines from the previous day. We have the monthly digest newspaper. We also have sponsorships available for programs like our News Hour, and also for the live streams that we do periodically when we're out and about in town. You can email PJ Parker at ads@franklinreporter.com. And I get on my dog and pony after every program. This is, we live by your support, either through subscriptions to the news site or through advertising. And we pride ourselves on giving you the most thorough news report that you can get for Franklin Township. We go places where other media purporting to cover the township don't go. We cover the meetings and the issues that others won't touch, for whatever the reason, either lack of staffing or just or lack of experience. So that.
And as an advertiser, you benefit from the interest that people have in their Franklin Township news.
Right.
And that is what drives all of our publications.
Right.
Is that we are bringing Franklin to Franklin. And if you want to reach those readers who are reading about Franklin, because that's where their interest is if they're living and or working here, then your advertising can benefit your business, whether it is
Right.
a small business, a home-based business, a large business. Your business can dwell in the hands and the eyes of those who are reading and interested in Franklin Township news.
Right.
And that's
Right.
you're going to get it the most thorough and the most comprehensive with the Franklin Reporter and Advocate group of publications, as
Right.
Bill Bowman has outlined.
Right. And this is what we do. This is our livelihood. We don't have a large corporation, as a safety net. We don't have second jobs as safety nets, or I should say primary jobs. This is our primary means of employment. This is what we love to do. We've been doing this for a long time. And this is what we do. So we do need your support. We do appreciate your support. And we appreciate when you support our advertisers and you tell them that you saw their ad in the Franklin Reporter. That just reinforces their decision to go with us and to support us. Well, that was fun. And I do believe we will try, once the pandemic has receded a little more and we can do such things, maybe we can get together with some venue and sponsor a book signing for Sarai and her mom, Judy, for this wonderful, wonderful book.
Yes.
All right. Well, Franklin, thanks very much for signing in today, for joining us, and for watching and commenting. And as usual, Franklin, until we meet again, stay safe. PJ, say that thing that you always say.
And we'll be back.